Yo, what is good, guys? I'm back at it again today with the Iceberg video for Gundam Seed and Seed Destiny. This shit took long as hell, for real. My bad, y'all. I was supposed to get this video out like 2 months ago just to coincide with the theatrical release of Seed Freedom. So, my bad, y'all. I've just been busy with life and other things lately, like, Dokkan's anniversary also coincided with the release of Seed Freedom, and like another movie of Bandai's, Kamen 5's 20th anniversary also came out, and that shit really kind of like took me out of it, because I didn't really like the movie that much, and I just kind of felt bummed out, because I was looking forward to Kamen 5's 20th anniversary. But anyways, let's just go on a lighter note. So I'm still gonna make other videos too. Eventually I'm gonna have to venture out for other anime and mangas out there, because I don't want to keep always talking about Seed Destiny. I mean, I could, but sometimes I just gotta change the pace. Like I've been reading Rent a Girlfriend again, but that shit is mid as hell. Like Ruka, bruh, man, all my homies, hey Ruka. Alright, so regarding the development of this video, this shit was a big pain in the ass. Like, I had to go back and forth to Japanese, Korean, and Chinese forums, just to try to see any tidbits that I may have missed or something that's new to you guys. So I've been losing sleep over this, actually. Like, for real, dog. Like, it's kind of interesting, because there's a lot of information about Seed and Seed Destiny that I didn't even know about, and I've been kind of obsessed with this anime for years now. And when I'm doing this video, I'm like, shit, dude, like, this is information that I'm now just getting. This is some shit I just learned, and it's actually kind of interesting to see like all the rumors and leaks and all that, like what's happening back then, the interviews, especially the interviews, because Fukuda himself, he's kind of an unreliable narrator. He tends to say things that are out of pocket, and I know the fan base already has certain problems with what he says and what's being depicted in anime being shown against his statements. So regarding that fact, definitely the most hardest part of this iceberg was trying to understand Fukuda's statements and interviews and stuff, because like I said before, what he's saying is contradictory to what was shown in the anime. So I had a hard time, just like trying to explain it and stuff, and I couldn't really wrap my mind around it, because I don't know, it just kind of really didn't make sense much to me. I mean, I get what he was trying to go for, but at the same time, I'm like, alright. Before I start this video, I just want to say thank you. Thank you to all the Gundam fans and to the Gundam Seed fans and enjoyers out there for remaining patient with the movie that took 20 years just to come out. Like, you guys, for real, remind me of the Bleach fan base, like, for real. And I just want to say that even if Seed and Seed Destiny had its many ups and downs, even I make fun of it, especially Seed Destiny's second half. Like, that's the only thing that I can't really like glaze. I don't really glaze Seed Destiny that much, but my bad, y'all. Yeah, Seed Destiny's second half is, absolute horse shit. Anyways, look, that's not the point. Look, despite Seed and Seed Destiny having its ups and downs, I just want to say that this movie, I didn't really watch it yet, but from what I heard about, the movie and the spoilers, it seems pretty good. Yeah, I just had to watch the movie to just see it to believe it, and we've come a long way, guys. So I just thought, like, why not just make an iceberg video, of trivia and information tidbits that we may have missed back in 2005, 2002, and all that, just to look back and see how long and how far we've come. And guess what, guys? Seed Freedom, we made it, baby. And this video is dedicated to you guys for remaining patient and strong over the last few years. Thank you. So you guys can just sit back and relax and just enjoy this video while I just go over the many tidbits and information and trivia of Seed and Seed Destiny over the years. Enjoy. Crying. So we all know that Gundam Seed and Seed Destiny is very notorious for having its characters cry more than any other Gundam series. In fact, the crying itself is infamous for its memeable status in the community. Come to think of it, everyone in the core cast has cried before in both Seed and Seed Destiny. Kira X Atherin. Alright, so this entry is actually kind of like Fujo bait, basically. So around the time that Seed was airing 20 years ago, the pairing of both Kira and Athrun were very popular amongst the female demographic. Due to their popularity, the anime itself has garnered many fangirls of the duo. This apparently was a little bit of a problem with Bandai, since they wanted to sell more Gunpla kits, but instead fangirls just bought the CDs instead. Here's another fun fact. Since Athrun and Kira was also very popular at the time, Kira's VA, Soichiro Hoshi, and Athrun's VA, Ishida Akira, also became a popular duo around the same time, from what I've read. References to both Mobile Suit Gundam and Mobile Suit Zeta Gundam. So in both Seed and its sequel, Seed Destiny, many throwbacks and references to the original Mobile Suit Gundam and Zeta Gundam were apparent. Even in the first half of Seed, if you guys remember, right, the first half of Seed was basically a retelling of the One Year War, and it followed beat by beat. When Kira met Andrew Wellfield, that was basically Amro's version of meeting Rumba Rao. This also continued into Seed Destiny. I don't really need to explain it, because Seed Destiny is pretty much a copy of Zeta a little bit. Some of the elements like the Destroy Gundam, obviously the Psycho Gundam, Stella and Shin, Camille and 4, and so on. Hell, even Athrun was supposed to be Quattro, but that never really took off, I guess. Come to think of it, there was also some of the mobile suit designs too, like the Strike Gundam and Impulse have similarities towards the RX-78. Luna Maria's and Shin's VAs are married. On August 8, 2011, Shin's voice actor Kenichi Suzumura got married to frequent co-star Maya Sakamoto, who is none other than Luna Maria's voice actress. Both VAs were also very supportive of the other as well, and radio segments for Seed Destiny. They are also posted on YouTube too if you guys want to check it out. TM Revolution. TM Revolution is a big name artist in the Japanese music industry, and he's very well known in the fan base for his contributions in Seed and Seed Destiny's many openings and insert songs. His real name is Nishikawa Takanori, and he also has many guest appearances, voicing Miguel in Seed and Heine in Seed Destiny. It is rather unfortunate that due to his status and busy schedule, his characters always suffer cruel, untimely deaths. If you guys already didn't know, Heine is a big meme. His death. On the bright side, at least, these deaths gave us a lot of memes to laugh at. Speaking of memes, our next entries is about how Seed Destiny and Seed is actually a big shitpost over there in Japan. Yeah, so over in Japan, there's many memes and shitposts of the characters doing random shenanigans. What I've seen is that apparently their voices and quotes are memes. These include, but not limited to, Kira's crying, Athrun's voice actor, Shin's angry yelling, Heinen's death, and many more. Acronyms. The Seed franchise is actually one of the few Gundam series to take advantage of the many acronyms present in the show and its lore. Many of these acronyms have hidden meanings, to name a few. For example, FATE stands for Fast Acting Integrated Tactical Headquarters. ZGMF stands for Zero Gravity Maneuver Fighter, and even the term Gundam is a short acronym for the operation system, which varies from faction to faction. It's also interesting to note that many of the Gundam mobile suit numbers on the forehead are also in Italian as well. Most hated entries in the franchise. I feel like a lot of people already know this, but I just want to put it in anyway. But yes, Seed and Seed Destiny is often the most criticized series in all of Gundam, and is up there as the most disliked and hated entries in the franchise's long history. But you know what? Despite being hated, it is ironically Bandai's bread maker. If you guys notice, Bandai loves to milk Seed, Unicorn, Zeta, and sometimes the original Gundam. Every year we have a new Seed kit. So maybe you guys seen the leaks. Next year we might get the Master Grade Rising Freedom and stuff. Star Wars. So Star Wars and its many elements are often seen inspiring the story and settings of the cosmic era. It would seem that Fukuda himself is a massive fan of the series, and as such references both the original 3 movies and the prequels in a variety of ways. For example, the sibling bond of Kigali and Kira is akin to that of Luke and his sister Leia for Star Wars. There's another one too. Like for example, Kira's mother is not really his mom, it's his aunt. And so technically Kira, he's raised by his aunt and uncle, just like Luke in episode 4, before learning that Vader's his father. Speaking of Vader, Shinn was kind of like a Vader clone, basically. He's basically Anakin Skywalker turning to the dark side. Super Robot Wars. Alright, so every time the anime of Seed and Seed Destiny is being discussed, many fans like to bring up how Band Presto's Super Robot Wars series have treated the plot way better than what was depicted in the anime's original writing. I know y'all in the comments love to bring up Super Robot Wars Z. I see it all the time in my comments, alright? I'll give you guys a quick rundown, for those who haven't played the game yet. So basically, Shinn is considered one of the MCs alongside the game's many headliners such as Renton, Camille, Koji, and many more. Speaking of Camille, it would seem that Camille's presence actually has a huge effect on Shinn as a whole. The two are great allies and friends to each other, both outside the battlefield and during battle. This bromance per se allows the two characters to develop as the story goes on, with Shinn showing more of his soft side. Think back when he saved Stella from drowning. Yeah, Shinn shows that side of him more, due to many characters in the cast supporting him. Basically, it allows Shinn himself to open up to more people. Even his relationship with the game original character Setsuko Ohara is a joy to watch. To keep it simple, Shinn mellows out. And before I forget, Kira also realizes the errors of his actions and reflects upon them, which is something that didn't really happen in Seed Destiny. Kira Jesus Yamato. Alright, speaking of Kira, I must also mention his memeable status as Jesus. Back in the old days, around 2010 or so, there were many fanboys of Kira running around, claiming how he is the most powerful Gundam protagonist of all time. They claim that he is never wrong and he is the best character in the series. Okay. But seriously though, the name Kira Jesus Yamato actually comes from his surprisingly immortal status of escaping death not once, but 3 times in total in a span of 2 shows. The first time was against his best friend Atherin, when the Aegis blew up the strike in the bear hug. Kira was found to be alive, despite the seat and hatch of the strike being melted and basically blown to bits. Afterwards, Kira would show up out of nowhere on the battlefield in episode 34 and in Seed, speaking and preaching about peace like Jesus, although this development happened out of nowhere for Kira. The second time was against the Providence Gundam in the final episode of Seed, in which the Freedom Gundam tanked a near-point shot of the Genesis radiation laser, which should have, melted his whole body, I guess, yeah. But, it's been retconned that due to the Justice Gundam's detonation, the power of the Genesis was weakened to a point where Freedom's armor protected Kira from dying, I guess. And lastly, the infamous Freedom vs. Force Impulse fight. Okay, do I need to even explain this one? It was bullshit. We all know this. Kira turning off the nuclear reactor was bullshit. There's a video out there by fellow YouTuber Wacky Modder 84 who goes into full detail about the fight and its absurd nature. Reused animation. Seed and Seed Destiny is also very infamous for having many reused frames of animation for its fight scenes. This could be perhaps due to the rush schedule and maybe lack of budget for hiring many big names for the show's music. The problem of reused animation is somewhat remedied in the remastered and special editions, where Bandai actually tried to fix the anime, props to them by the way, by giving us newer frames to look at. Plot holes and retcons. Alright, I'm gonna keep this short since I might actually make a video on this because there's way too many retcons to actually, go over in this video. So the Cosmic Era is perhaps the only Gundam universe to have as many retcons and plot inconsistencies on the scale of Dragon Ball levels of plot holes. I'm planning to make a video explaining all of this in the future right now. Seed Fan Club. Back in the day, during the anime's original airing, there was a Seed Fan Club online where many fans can discuss all things Gundam Seed, whether it be model kits or upcoming CD releases or even bios of their favorite VAs. The fan club remains strong and many exclusive perks and items as well. The Strike Freedom is the strongest mobile suit. Okay, so this entry regarding the Strike Freedom can be referring to two things. So 1. The Strike Freedom being debated as the strongest mobile suit in existence by fans. Or 2. It is referring to how guidebooks mention the Strike Freedom as the strongest mobile suits in the cosmic era. So, back in the day, a decade or so, many fans would invoke debate over who is the strongest protagonist Gundam. Followers of the Church of Jesus Kira Yamato would so-called claim that the Strike Freedom would beat the Turn A, Unicorn, and even Double O Quan and so forth. I mean, it sounds absurd, but all jokes aside, this entry is mainly referring to how it's stated that in the guidebooks and sometimes in the manuals of the Master Grade, I think, that the Strike Freedom is the strongest mobile suit in Cosmic Era due to its amazing performance. Tier 2, Heine's Destiny Gundam. So according to the high grade kit manuals, there was an idea to put together a team of remarkable people. Just kidding, this ain't the Avengers, but yeah, there was an idea to put together a team of ZAF elites called the Concluders. This team would all pilot their own exclusive Destiny Gundams. However, due to Heinen's untimely death, the team never really formed and its concept was abandoned. However, it is said that Heinen's Destiny still exists somewhere in a hangar, waiting to spread its own wings on the battlefield. Many fans believe that Heinen's Destiny is a metaphor for Takanori Nishikawa's love for the Seed franchise and his eager wait of the Seed movie that will finally be coming out very soon. Atheron's VA is a meme. Earlier I mentioned that the Seed franchise has many memes of his characters, however none other than Atheron and his voice actor is memed the most by the fan base. According to what I found on my research, the reason why Atheron is such a big meme over there in Japan is because of his character design, I guess, or his voice too. So apparently, back in the day during the original airing of Seed, there were many animation errors, and one of these errors were making Atheron's forehead look too big. This caused a lot of fans to joke and laugh with his character design. Even his quotes and line delivery are laughed at. For example, Nicole was only 15 is one of the most infamous quotes the Gundam fanbase likes to mention. However, it seems that Akira Ishida's screaming is really popular and has garnered a lot of Nico Nico and YouTube shitposts over a decade. I guess it could also attribute to why Atheron is more popular now than Kira and Shinn. Beam sabers cannot clash. So beam sabers work differently in the Cosmic Era. The weapons cannot clash with each other unlike other Gundam shows. In Universal Century, this is why many of the times the characters are seen shielding the beam sabers. Inspired by 9/11. Gundam Seed and Seed Destiny are both inspired by the events of 9/11 and as such serve as the first of many entries in our franchise referred as post 9/11 Gundam series. Fukuda and his staff were tasked with creating a series that tackles issues such as war and racism that was apparent in society during this time. Japanese nicknames. Alright, this is just a minor entry, but I just wanted to put it in here. Mobile suit names of both the Strike Freedom and Infinite Justice Gundams have nicknames in the Japanese fan base. Strike Freedom is often referred as Stofuri, while Infinite Justice is called Inja. Even the title Gundam Seed Destiny is often shortened to Gundam Seed Death, by many Japanese fans. This is hilarious as it is an unintentional shortening of the title, but seems to be referring to how Seed Destiny is considered the death of the Cosmic Era, perhaps, maybe? The original concept of the Poma Fictiona. Destiny's Poma Fictiona was originally planned to be a mid to close range weapon that can shoot powerful blue beams similar to the Kamehameha of Goku and Repulsor Blast of Iron Man. There's also a very specific scene in one of the later episodes of the anime in HD Remaster where there's an unknown blue beam that shoots out of nowhere, Battle of Orb. Even in some of the manga data pages mention that the Poma Fictiona being a mid-range weapon similar to a beam rifle. To be honest, in my opinion, I think the weapon is best portrayed in the PS Vita game Gundam Seed Battle Destiny. In the game, the Poma Fictiona is treated as both a mid-range and a close-range weapon. In the game itself, the Pomo Ficiona cannot fire far, but it is a very powerful weapon the closer you are to an enemy when launching it. It is considered, in my opinion, to be one of the most powerful weapons in the game. I personally think that works best effectively as a zero range weapon, while the further away you are from an enemy, the less damage and effective it becomes. Destiny Gundam was a leftover design, so the Pomo Ficiona is not the only Destiny design to suffer an overhaul. The Destiny Gundam itself is a leftover from Seed's original planning. So apparently Bandai wanted to develop the weapon changing system of Destiny for Seed, but couldn't come up with the ideas in time. It was said that the original idea of the Destiny Gundam would be a little too hard to animate and a little too complicated to be translated into model kit form at the time, which is why how the Freedom Gundam came to be Seed's upgraded mobile suit for Kira. So when the sequel rolled around, the Destiny Gundam's design was finally realized. And so for this reason, it is also why the Destiny Gundam itself shares many similarities with the Strike Gundam. CD dramas are all canon. So the CD dramas for the anime are all canon and serve as extra character development moments for the main characters of the Cosmic Era. My favorite one has to be the one where Kira and Athrun, when they were just young kids. It serves as an explanation of sorts to why and how the two are so close as friends. I think I'm just gonna say it right now, the anime would have been so much better if the relationship itself, when they were kids, were shown in the anime and not the CD drama. Alright, so you know how like back in Seed, right? Seed and Seed Destiny, they're very well known for their flashbacks. Every time we have these Kira and Athrun Fujo bait moment, they always show us the same the same scene of them as kids and that field giving him the bird and stuff. Okay, so this time the Seed drama actually goes in depth and gives us more detail about the relationships, the irony of the weapons of the Destiny and Legend. A lot of fans have already mentioned how ironic the name of the sword that the Destiny Gundam uses. The Arondite is a name for Sir Lancelot's sword, who betrayed King Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table. However, Lancelot himself was once a hero who wielded the Excalibur at one point. The Excalibur itself, in the lore of Seed Destiny, are the swords of the Sword Impulse Gundam, which could be in reference of how Shinn himself was the main protagonist of the series before wielding the Arondite of the Destiny Gundam, diving deep into a fallen hero status in the second half of the show's run. However, many fans also ignore that the Legend's beam sabers are also very ironic itself. So the name of the beam sabers of the Legend Gundam itself are called Defiant Kai, which could be a possible hint at Rei's defiance and change of heart in the final episode against Durando's destiny plan. And to our plot. Okay, so the Cosmic Era is also very humorously well known for many of the characters' infidelity. Apparently, it's a big plot point in the show, and it's also going to be like a big plot point in Seed Freedom 2, I guess. I also made a small compilation of all the moments of NTR on my channel regarding the show's, many moments of infidelity. Flay piloting the Strike Rouge. In the original scrapped ending, I believe, Flay was supposed to be the pilot of the Strike Rouge instead, but ultimately that role went to Kigali. The Kuwashima Curse. The voice actress of Flay is very well known in the fan base to have all her characters that she voiced suffer very cruel deaths in the series. Differences in the manga. The manga adaptations about Seed and Seed Destiny contain many differences. Alright, so for example, in one of the Seed mangas, if I believe, Raw actually pilots the Freedom instead of Kira, and he has a death match removed, killing them both. Even in Seed Destiny, Hainen's death is played out very differently. In Seed Destiny The Edge, after Kira disarms the whole battlefield, Hainen quickly advises Shinn and Athrun to retreat and resupply themselves, while charging towards the Freedom. Wacky Modder 84. Wacky Modder himself is a very well-known Cosmic Era debater and is widely considered a very notorious critic of both Seed and Seed Destiny. He is perhaps the most well-known Cosmic Era critic in the fan base, which has garnered a lot of attention from both the Church of Kira Yamato and fans alike. Buster Gundam's low sales. Alright, I'm gonna be honest with you guys, but like back when I was a kid watching Seed, I was confused all of a sudden, why is Dirka and the Buster Gundam, the main player in the second half of the anime out of nowhere, he just joined up, with Kira. Well, apparently it seems that the Gunpla sales of the busters were really ass and weren't really selling at all, so Bandai and Fukuda had to come up with a plan to boost sales. The conclusion they came up was just to have the buster be promoted in the main cast so that its popularity can soar. Shinn's voice actor's original thoughts of the Destiny Gundam's first debut. In one of the radio segments starring Shinn and Luna Maria's VAs, Shinn's voice actor mentioned that he had originally hoped Destiny's first appearance would be him showing up saving the Minerva in a big pinch. He also mentions that Shinn himself must have felt disappointed and surprised in episode 36 for using a Destiny Gundam to shoot down his former comrade Atherin in the sea. As a change of pace, Maya Sakamoto, Luna Maria's voice actress, tells Shinn to not give up and that she is rooting for him in the last few seconds of the radio segment. Stella's Zaf Belt. So concerning Stella's Zaf Belt, I don't know if you guys noticed it, but Stella's Earth Alliance uniform contains a Zaf Belt for some reason. It's never explained how, why, and where she got the Zaf Belt to wear. I guess it's just a design choice, but it was mentioned in early magazine scans that this could be a hint towards something that was never shown. Rare plushies. Apparently, Seed Destiny had rare plushies that were sold during the first toy catalog of the show. These plushies, however, are very extremely rare and not many are found online. Tokusatsu references. It is theorized by many members of the community that Fukuda himself is a big Tokusatsu fan. In interviews, he often mentions Ultraman and Kamen Rider a lot. As a matter of fact, many elements of Ultraman and Kamen Rider can be seen in Seed Destiny and Seed itself. So I've rewatched Seed Destiny a lot and I've started to notice a lot of these references to Ultraman. Let's just start off with the most obvious one. Even though it's not confirmed, Shinn Asuka from Seed Destiny shares the same name as another Shinn Asuka from Ultraman Dana. I don't know if this is supposed to be like a reference, but they do share similar characteristics. They're both cocky at times. Both are elite soldiers of their respective squads. For example, Shinn from Seed Destiny is a Zaf Red, while Ultraman Dyna's Shinn is an elite member of Super Guts, and both are also protagonists of their respective shows that have met their predecessors at some point from the previous series. Some fans even pointed out that Dyna and the Force Impulse Gundam itself shares similar color schemes and palettes. They also have three forms as well. Speaking of the Force Impulse, I think that the Deuterion energy transfer scene seems to take inspiration from the Ultraman series, when they're transferring energy to their forehead to replenish their strength. Another possible reference to the Ultraman series could be the Justice Gundam. Fukuda mentioned that in an interview that when coming up with the name for the Justice Gundam, he mentioned Ultraman Justice and the rest is history. Providence was a last minute addition, so correct me if I'm wrong, but my memory on this subject is a bit fuzzy. So there was an interview way back somewhere that Fukuda claimed that the Providence Gundam itself was a last minute addition to the show. He could explain why the mobile suit itself only showed up in the last few episodes of the anime. Coordinators are not perfect. Although it is common belief by many fans that being a coordinator grants an advantage when compared to naturals, I don't think this is often the case. It is explained in the anime by Kira that coordinators have to train and learn properly in order to be good at something similar to naturals. This is further expanded upon in the audio drama, which goes in detail between Kira and Atherin's childhood. Kira originally wasn't as bright as we would know him to be in Seed and Seed Destiny. He wasn't skilled in engineering and programming, and he had to be taught those skills by Atherin. Kira himself took a lot of time constructing and improving his skills. Even Seed Astray takes this concept further by having one of his characters, Elijah, our normal coordinator who does not inherit any enhanced abilities, grow his skill as a pilot as the story goes on. English. There are many instances of English in the anime where many of the sentences in English contain grammatical errors with random words jumbled in English. Original names of the Strike Freedom and Infinite Justice. The original names of both the Strike Freedom Gundam and Infinite Justice originally were very different. Old magazine leaks and scans had the names Super Freedom and Night Justice Gundam. Troubled production. I feel like I had to put this one in here, but yes, it is common knowledge in a fan base that the Seed series suffered a lot of production issues. but none other than Seed Destiny was the problems were most apparent. According to rumors and reports, many of the scripts returned late, and even one of the reasons why so many frames were used for fight scenes was because, of the budget being spent on other things. Rumors even started to spread online that gained the attention of both the Japanese and American fan base. These rumors claimed that the voice cast themselves had beef with Fukuda and his wife Murasawa, but these claims are not proven with substantial evidence. Recently, Kenichi Suzumura mentioned on his podcast basically clearing the air of rumors. I mean, you guys have to think about it. If there was really beef, would the cast all come back for the anniversary to do a movie together? Toonami censorship. The Toonami block is well known in the United States to be many's first introduction to anime, but what they don't know is that certain shows had to be censored for daytime viewers. Seed is one of these many shows to be censored. If I remember correctly, some of the guns shot out lasers instead of bullets, and mentions of the druggies using boosted drugs are omitted and not present in the United States version. The druggies were death row inmates. So, speaking of the druggies, the origins weren't really touched upon in the anime, but Fukuda himself has stated in an interview that there were death row inmates who teamed up with the Alliance to do their bidding in order to get their sentence revoked. I'm just gonna add my own theories to it, but I think their origin stories actually go way deeper than what just Fukuda said in the interview. So if you guys look back at one of the episodes of Seed on Orga's profile, their first appearance, there's a blink and you'll miss it moment where the terms ASGT and the World Vaccine Congress Montreal 2003 appear. The ASGT stands for American Society of Gene Plus Cell Therapy, while the World Vaccine Congress Montreal is an event located near Washington that covers vaccine and medical progress in areas such as infectious diseases, cancer immunotherapy, and clinical development. Alright, so we know that the Earth Alliance itself is very skilled at manipulating many of their forces' bodies in order to make a super soldier. Not to mention that the Earth Alliance has ties to America in the lore, so perhaps maybe the American Society of Gene and Cell Therapy and the World Vaccine Congress were able to combine the greatest minds to make and synthesize a drug that can manipulate and change the gene structures of naturals in order to make them as strong as coordinators. This could be the backstory of basically how they found the drugs to make the druggies back in Seed, and to an extent extended in Seed Destiny. I believe that, since technology in the cosmic era progresses really fast, that by the time Seed Destiny rolled around, the World Vaccine Congress and Cell Society of America were able to create a new super drug or genetic mutation and manipulation of the genotypes for the extended. So that is why they don't use the drugs in Seed anymore, but they use these pods, to regulate their memories and genes. Shinn is a siscon. The common joke in the community is that Shinn himself has a sister complex. There's some shitposts out there poking fun at Shinn and his bond with his sister. Fans also use the relationship between him and Stella as a metaphor of how he can't get over his sister and seizes her in Stella. Although it is one of the reasons why Shinn cares so much about Stella, it's also quite funny to see how the community views the subject. Bandai tried to fix the anime. Regarding Bandai fixing the anime, this can mean a lot of things. For one, I'm referring to the special edition compilation movies that fixed the pacing a lot, and even had many scenes fleshing out the story and its characters. Hell, you know what? I'm gonna say it again. I consider the special endings to be Bandai's true effort at giving us a real satisfying ending that was really never present in Seed or Seed Destiny. Alright, there's another quick editor's note, but holy shit, dude, as you may know, the leaks of the new Sea Freedom just came out, the movie, dude, that shit was crazy, and I was like, I'm about to come! Dude, that shit was so crazy, bro, but yeah, damn, man. But I had to see it to believe it for myself, though, I'm hoping there's gonna be an English dub release somewhere. Alright, anyways, Tier 4. Redub lines and added scenes in the special edition. You know what, to further expand what I already said about the special editions, Bandai actually really did a great job fixing, in my opinion. they actually added more scenes to illustrate what's going on. Like, Durandal, he already planned for Shinn to defeat Kira. And there's another change too, if I remember. In that same movie, it's not Atherin that saves Stella and Shinn. It's instead Luna Maria. So that was pretty cool, I guess. The Destiny Gundam was leaked 3 times. Okay, for this entry, I'm not really mentioning anything about Sea Freedom. You guys already know that. But yes, I'm talking about how the original Destiny itself was leaked 3 times back in 2005, the original run of Sea Destiny. So basically what happened was that, the first time we actually saw the Destiny Gundam was not in the show, but in a commercial instead. For the no grade 1/144 Destiny Gundam, it was just like a small commercial. Yeah, the other time the Destiny Gundam was leaked was through an Ami toy catalog. A lot of people back then were just speculating what the Destiny Gundam was. All they said was that it was like a composite Gundam. He had the same gauntlets of the Shining Gundam and God Gundam. He could do Destiny Finger, God Finger, and he had the wings of light, just like the Victory 2, and he had the striker packs. So that was just this rumor circulating at the time. We didn't know what it was, what Destiny was capable of. And the last time, the third time that the Destiny actually got leaked was through the game itself, Generation of CE, through the game trailers. That's actually the second time that we technically saw the Destiny. I'm not sure, but yeah, all of this actually premiered a couple weeks before the Destiny's first appearance in episode 36. The Blast Impulse getting shafted. Have you guys ever noticed that the Blast Impulse seems to be the most neglected form out of the 3? Not only does the Blast Impulse have the least number of appearances when compared to the Sword and Force Impulse, but it is also the only one to be missing an HG for the longest time. Back in the day, we never really got a high grade Blast Impulse Gundam. It came out for the Force and Sword. Bandai never really made a third variant, the Blast Impulse. The closest thing we had was the no grade 1/44 Blast Impulse. Oh yeah, and come to think of it, yeah, we never really had a Master Grade Blast Impulse for a decade too, huh? If I remember. Force Impulse came out first, then a year or two later the Sword Impulse came out, and those two were considered as a legendary Master Grades at the time, and they've aged quite well. But for Blast Impulse, we had to wait until 2020 as a premium Bandai exclusive. So that's roughly a decade basically, yeah, missing the Blast Impulse variant. Missing 1/60 Destiny Gundam. Another missing mobile suit that never made an appearance was a 1/60 Destiny Gundam. The Force Impulse and Strike Freedom both had 1/60 releases, but Destiny, despite being one of the core mobile suits in the second half of the show, and technically one of the main characters, never had one. And this is quite weird because it is theorized by fans that in the 1/60 manual of the Strike Freedom, you can see the Destiny fighting the Freedom Gundam, but apparently, we don't have a 1/60 Destiny to go with that Freedom. So as of right now, we still don't have a 1/60 Destiny Gundam. But who knows? Maybe in the future, and I will make one. Kira's English voice actor was kicked in the nuts. Alright, so going back on what I said about Kira crying being a huge meme in the community, it also turns out that Kira's original voice actor in the Ocean dub, Matt Hill, was kicked in the nuts in order to have a more realistic portrayal of the crying scene in Seed. Aliens and the Cosmic Era. Aliens do exist in the Cosmic Era, but just like every plot point in Seed, it is quickly forgotten and its potential is squandered. So Fukuda also came out in an interview and he said that it's just there for display. That's it, there's no importance to it. It's just there. Durandal was a hidden member of Logos. In episode 33 of Seed Destiny, when Durandal gave a speech to the world delegitimizing Logos, there's a blank portrait where the names of the terrorists are exposed. This supposed blank portrait is theorized by fans to be Durandal himself, who has secretly infiltrated Logos' inner circle. It could explain how Durandal himself had the plans to destroy Gundam before the attack on Berlin even happened. Many fans believe that it is in Durandal's hidden agenda and plan to join Lacus in order to plot and plan the outcome of the war so that Zaf will remain victorious. Azrael instigated the events of Seed. Azrael was the true main villain of Seed all along. It was his own hubris and actions that caused the nuclear attacks of June 7 to happen, thus giving rise to the war that took place in Seed. The tragic Bloody Valentine incident is what really caused both Zaf and the Earth Alliance to fight a long war with each other. Prayer is a clone of Mu. In the manga series Gundam Seed Astray, one of the main pivotal characters of the story, Prayer, is theorized to be a clone of Mu La Flaga. There are many points of evidence that supports this theory. In the story, Prayer has memories of piloting the Mobius Zero during a battle. Mu is most known for being an ace of the Alliance piloting a Mobius Zero in the Super Robot War games that usually feature Seed and Seed Astray together. Mu and Prayer both have similar base stats. Even their character designs share similar details, that being the bridge where their hair splits. Fukuda killed the budget. Earlier on the Iceberg, I mentioned that Seed and Seed Destiny is very well known to have many big music names of the industry take part in the production. TM Revolution, Nami Tamaki, and Seesaw are to name a few of the popular artists that took part in making music for the series. It is believed by many that because of all these mainstream pop artists being hired to make music for the series, the budget suffered as a result in order to promote their music. This could be why there are so many animation errors and reduced frames in the original airing of the series. Shin killed Stella theory? During my research of Seed Destiny's many unexplained plot holes, this one actually kind of baffled me the most. I came across a comment on Reddit that claimed many years ago, back in the original airing of Seed Destiny, there was a theory made by a fan that stated that Shin actually killed Stella when he laid her body to rest in episode 32. So the theory mentions that Stella was just unconscious from the battle and could still be saved, but because Shin seizes his sister and Stella so much that his emotions overcame his mental state at the time, which leads him to lay her to rest without trying to revive her. Alright, you know what? To be honest, this theory, it doesn't make sense at all. It doesn't make sense. We all see her dying right there. There was no way she could have survived the impact of the Freedom destroying the cockpit of the Destroy Gundam. We saw her right there. She died. Tier 5. Atherin's Missing Character Song. Alright, this one is actually kind of a fun fact as well, but if you guys look at the character album, right, you'll notice that Atherin is the only one out of the 3 core characters to not have a character song sung by his voice actor. So from what I've read online is that the reason behind this was that Ishida Akira, the voice for Atherin, had refused to sing and stated that he is just strictly a voice actor. This is why Isaac had Atherin's song. And despite not being a core character to the story, the song that Isaac sings was originally intended for Atherin, and even if you look at the lyrics, it actually fits Atherin's character more than Isaac too. Orb is the ideal Japan. Okay, you know what, for this entry, I'm not entirely too sure what Fukuda is meaning, or what he's saying for this, but I'll just try my best to explain it for you guys. So we all know that Orb is a stand-in for Japan in the story of Seed and its lore. What I can infer from Fukuda's vision is that his version of Japan, or rather in this case Orb, is one without the interference of outside forces. A nation that remains neutral without the interference of America, or in the lore of Seed and Seed Destiny is actually the Earth Alliance, which is a stand-in for America and stuff. But I believe it's actually a little more complex than what I'm trying to say right now. I'll go more in depth on this topic soon enough later down the Iceberg. It'll become more important later. Reruns of Seed killed Ultraman Nexus. Alright, so another fun fact that I found from my research is that Ultraman Nexus was a show that was running alongside Gundam Seed and Seed Destiny. I believe it was Seed Destiny. I'm not too sure, but from what I've read and from what I found from the TV schedule is that reruns of Seed, or maybe Seed Destiny, killed Ultraman Nexus, another Bandai supported property. So Ultraman Nexus already had low ratings, but once reruns of Seed and Seed Destiny dropped, the TV executives, they saw this, they saw that Seed was just more popular, and they just pulled a plug on the Ultra series. Although it was a big boost in terms of popularity for Seed fans, but it was quite a low blow to the eyes of many other Ultra fans out there. Ray and Raw's complex origins. Raw and his brother Ray, their origin is something that's not very well done, okay? We both know that both of them are a clone of Mu's father, but, does that make them coordinators or naturals? Ray and Raw are clones of a natural man, so that makes them natural, right? But according to the rules established by Seed, anyone with altered genes are coordinators. So Ray and Raw are clones that have altered genes because they have short telomeres and shit. So technically the two of them are coordinators, right? But I guess technically, they can also be both naturals and coordinators at the same time. Okay. It gets even more complicated in the guidebooks, where many sources claim a variety of things, like the two clones being an unknown type of human. And to further complicate things, Fukuda himself claims Raw, and by extension Ray, are new types. You know what, to this day, I don't know what the hell they are. Seed's original and different endings. The original ending of Seed is mentioned to feature Flay as a human bomb, Kira being killed, and Authren losing a limb. It sounds a little too extreme, but I think that Fukuda himself was just trolling during the interview. Another different ending that we could have gotten was in one of the manga, also features another take on Seed with Raw piloting the Freedom instead of Kira. Sex scenes, controversies. Okay. Yeah, so the sex scene, between Kira and Flay back in Seed was very controversial at the time. From what I've found online is that many parents complained about what was being shown, which escalated to the point where the Committee on Broadcasting and Youth of Japan had to step in. And what happened was that Fukuda and other staff members soon had to issue an apology to both the committee and parents of the children watching Seed at the time. The movie was in development hell. This is just an outdated entry, but it's very well known in the community that way back, like 2 decades ago, that the Seed movie went through huge development hell that never went anywhere until now. Connections to Turn A Gundam. Throughout Seed Destiny, there's a slight reference to Turn A, where one of the sceneries share a similar design to a castle seen in Turn A. Originally, there's rumors that Seed was supposed to be a continuation of Turn A, and even in one of the WonderSwan GBA games or something like that, the Strike Gundam is a secret character rumored to have been under a white doll similar to Turn A. Bandai doesn't know who is the real protagonist of Seed Destiny. Alright, for this one I might have to go off a little bit, but the topic regarding who's really the main character of Seed Destiny is really confusing as a whole. Alright, you have like two sides of the fan base, alright, that say it's either Shinn or Kira. Then you have the odd ones out who claim it's Authren that's the true protagonist. And even in the marketing and merchandising commercials, right, it is believed that Authren and Shinn are the main focus of the first half, before ultimately shifting towards Kira in the second half of Destiny. Okay, seems quite normal, but wait, in recent games and commercials, Bandai now considers Shinn and the Destiny Gundam to be the real protagonists. You guys take note of the placing, right? The Destiny Gundam comes before the Strike Freedom in most games nowadays. It gets even more complicated how Fukuda himself once claimed in a very old interview that it's 3 protagonists, before ultimately changing his mind very recently, claiming that Authren is the true protagonist of the series itself, for Seed Destiny. Personally, in my opinion, I think that the anime contains 3 protagonists moving in different axes before ultimately converging on the same path. But, what do you guys think? Who do you guys think is the main character? Fukuda never worked with Tomino. Alright, it is a widespread belief amongst fans that Fukuda actually worked with Tomino in the past. This actually turns out to be a misconception. Fukuda himself never worked with Tomino on any project together. It just turns out that Fukuda himself is just a huge fan of Tomino's works, and that's it. Fukuda has once claimed that his favorite Gundam series is Turn A Gundam. Kira and Lacus are evil interview. Okay, so you guys remember back in the beginning of this video, I told you guys that a lot of these entries contain interviews from Fukuda, and he tends to say things like this that makes no sense, alright? But let me just explain it, okay? So, according to an old interview, Fukuda claims that Kira and the Archangel are on the wrong side of the conflict in Seed Destiny. Fukuda also claimed that Kira and Lacus have diverted from the path of justice, and Rando and Shinn could have been right. They could have, they were on a look. My mind right now, I don't know what the hell was going on, but this makes no sense, man. This is another case of Seed Destiny, poor writing. I don't want to go too deep into it, but let's just say it's a whole load of bullshit. Okay, now we're at the bottom tiers. If you guys actually made it this long, thank you, for supporting me. I mean it, dog. Alright, anyways, 2 girls in love with high-grade model kits. So, the story is about 2 girls, well, not 2 girls, technically. One of them is a high school student, one of them is actually a 30-year-old salary worker. Anyway, so the manga goes in depth of a fellow Seed enjoyer and contains commentary about how one of the main characters felt about the series of Seed and Seed Destiny as a whole. Shinn and Kira make regular appearances throughout the manga. It's actually a good read with chill vibes, and I highly recommend it if you guys, like anime with cute girls, yeah. Seed Destiny's true endings and multiple endings. So I won't go much into Seed Destiny's many alternate endings since I already made a video covering it, but I'll sum it up very briefly here. So apparently one of the if endings for the game Generation of Cosmic Era featured what is believed by many fans of what could have been the true ending to Seed Destiny as a whole. Oddly enough, Bandai has a tendency of rewriting many alternate scenarios for Seed Destiny in their many games. New types exist. Okay, so according to Fukuda, the main man himself, new types exist in the setting of the Cosmic Era. The director states that Rei, Ra, Mu, and even Kira, to a certain extent, are new types. Yeah, this completely breaks the rules of the Cosmic Era itself and makes absolutely no sense. But there are many scenes in the anime that contain the new type flash effects. Alright, but I'm just gonna say right now, I think that new types should remain exclusive to the Universal Century only. There's no subtext in Seed and Seed Destiny that explains how and why new types exist. Seed Destiny is a social commentary about propaganda in the Iraq War. Alright, so what I'm saying might sound super controversial and sensitive to a lot of people, but earlier I mentioned that 9/11 inspired Seed, while the war on Iraq is probably what inspired the plot of Seed Destiny. So during the time of the airing of the anime for Seed Destiny, Japan was involved with America's war on Iraq. Many Japanese and American journalists took note of Japan's choice to technically break the country's neutrality by being involved with Bush. Many claim that due to being America's ally, Japan was indirectly pushed into the conflict. Japanese soldiers were also sent over there in Iraq as well. This, of course, was a big topic of discussion amongst both Japanese and American politicians. This does awfully seem familiar with Orb being drafted into another war due to being allies with the Earth Alliance. And if you guys remember, right, earlier I mentioned Orb is Japan. Orb is Fukuda's ideal Japan, the stand-in for Japan. And the Earth Alliance itself has many allegories and references. The United States is actually part of the Earth Alliance too. So maybe Fukuda was trying to, tell us something. I'm not too sure. There's a lot more to go in depth because I don't have enough time to go over in a 1 hour video. This video is as long as it is. But I'll leave it as this for future videos. Perhaps if you guys want it, I can make one explaining this more post Seed Destiny events before the movie. Alright, so right now I don't want to talk about any Seed Freedom spoilers because that's a different topic for a different day. There are games and other media that show events of what happened post Seed Destiny. So for example, the crossover game Another Century Episode R features a post-Seed Destiny scenario where Shinn is allied with Kira and Atherin against the remnants of Logo's forces. The three seems to be on good terms with each other as well. And there's also a crossover with the cast of Zeta. And if I remember correctly, in one of the G Generation games on Nintendo DS, Shinn and Lunamaria joined La Nobel alongside the remaining cast of Seed Destiny in their quest to end conflict. But most importantly, what I think is the best post-series scenario is Super Robot Wars V. Shin still remains angry over the events that had transpired in the last half of Seed Destiny. He is still angered by his actions for taking part in the Destiny plan and has not fully forgiven Kira for killing Stella. Kira also acknowledges in the game that he was wrong for taking the life of someone Shin cared so much about. And as the game progresses, both Kira and Shin grow as they learn from their mistakes by reflecting upon them. Shin also advises one of the characters from Cross Ange to make her own decisions and think for her own truest desires instead of following someone else's. So in brief, both Kira and Shin have amazing character development not seen in Seed Destiny. I highly recommend you guys actually check out and play this game since it's super easy and it's actually fully translated out there too. Fukuda had beef with an animator. One of the more troubling production issues that occurred was allegedly Fukuda having beef with an animator working on Seed Destiny. Very long ago, there was an old blog post made by an unknown animator who claimed that Fukuda and his wife Morosawa were being unprofessional. The blog post claimed that Morosawa was always turning in late scripts and even stated that if she was really sick, then she should have just gave the plot outline to someone else to write the story for her. It got worse when Fukuda and Morosawa went to a TM Revolution concert to give him roses. So let me just explain this one real quick. If you guys didn't know, it's a common gesture in Japan and many Asian countries to actually give people roses or flowers as a token of gratitude and appreciation. But instead of working on the anime, they went to TM's Revolution's concert to do that instead. Although it is never confirmed who the animator is, it is heavily implied to be Yosuke Kabashima, who advised Fukuda not to slack off and not to go to a concert when his attention should be on the anime instead. The logos and blue cosmos are metaphors for Nazis and the KKK. Alright, you know what, I might have to keep this one super censored because I don't want YouTube flagging my ass because I know they get butthurt all the time. So the hate-filled groups of the Earth Alliance logos and blue cosmos are very reminiscent of real-life Nazis and KKK factions. Some fans are pointing out that Azrael is an Aryan since he has blonde hair and blue eyes. And it is also to mention that he also shares the same genocidal tendencies like Hitler, and he also wants to keep the world pure, no coordinators and stuff. Jibril, on the other hand, is just like the Gundam version of Frieza. He wears lipstick and is an evil, genociding, hating ass dude that shares similar views to the KKK. You know what, hell, I'm gonna say it too. Even the treatment of the extended experiments are very reminiscent of the Nazis' inhumane experiments back in World War II. Seed Destiny predicted the state of the world of today. I'm just gonna say it right now, but I always loved the message and themes of Seed Destiny. I think it has actually aged quite well, despite the bad writing. So, despite being the anime being like a 2-decade-old animation at this point, Seed Destiny's themes, social propaganda, and how it can control society and its people is very important in today's society, of course. The ability to think and choose your own future is very important. However, it seems that in today's society, many people are quick to pick a side and listen to propaganda and many social media outlets without thinking for themselves of, what is right or wrong. The people of today will choose to listen to people of authority instead of researching their own stance on the issues at hand, which sounds very familiar to, the theme of Seed Destiny, the propaganda of Durando and stuff. Censor changes to the opening. Since I don't want to get flagged by YouTube, I'll just put an image of the original opening too. You guys just put 2 and 2 together. This particular scene is not present in the remastered version of Seed Destiny. Legend, Gundam, Master Grade when? There will never be a Legend Gundam Master Grade. Ever, Okay, but not for real though. This is just a joke entry, and the Master Grade Legend is a huge topic of discussion in the community. But it seems that we won't ever get it at all in Master Grade form. I just think that Bandai just forgot about it. It doesn't exist. Don't trust Bandai. Don't trust Bandai is referring to an interview by Fukuda when he first met Tomino. Tomino advised Fukuda to not trust Bandai. Honestly, this is not surprising at all, since we know that Bandai has a track record of wanting to prioritize merch sales above all things. Alright, so I was about to end off the video right here, right? But apparently, And it's come to my attention that other people actually DM me, asking about this and that, about other information tidbits about CNC this Destiny that I didn't even pay attention to, and I didn't even know that was in the show actually, and I kind of have to like go over them right now. And so technically this Iceberg was made in January, right? Because earlier in the beginning of the video I said I wanted to make it just coincide with Sea Freedom as a celebration, just for fun. But I actually went back and I actually found more information actually about Sea Destiny and stuff. And so right now this extra phase is supposed to be like all the information that I forgot about or just left out because I was unsure if it's legit or not. So regarding Kira and Lacus being evil, as stated by Fukuda in an interview, this is actually from an Animage 2005 magazine. Unfortunately, right now, I don't have the magazine on me since, I'm not going to pay $60 just to have it shipped to my house because of, the shipping taxes is just a pain in the ass to deal with. And I think it's actually kind of legit because if you guys note, I actually noticed that Fukuda, right, and his wife, they're on the same wavelength. Everything she says, he supports, and everything he says, she supports. And you guys will get what I'm saying, vice versa. And I think this is actually kind of like true to a certain extent, because in the anime, right, we know that the anime did a poor job of showing Kira and Lacus being evil. They don't really seem evil. It's just like more like, we just gonna follow them because they're the good guys, right? And that's what I mean about Sea Destiny's poor writing in that case. If they wanted to make him evil, Kira evil and stuff, why not just show the repercussions of their actions instead of just saying like, yo, we can't have Durando's destiny plan take action because it'll doom the world. I mean, yeah, we know it could doom the world, but just show us more than that. Just don't just say like, oh, it's just gonna doom the world, And yes, I do know that the red frame Gundam actually does show up in the first opening of Gundam Seed, but I actually didn't want to put it in any of the entries because Bandai only put the red frame in the opening just to promote the high grade model kit, and that's it. The red frame really didn't do anything in Seed, it wasn't even in the anime at all. One of the new information that I just got a couple days ago was that Athrun is a MILF lover. So someone actually sent me a post from Gundam Reddit saying that in an interview, the guidebook saying that Athrun's first crush was Kira's mom or his auntie, you know what I'm saying? And I was like, I mean, it's a little funny, nothing wrong with that, but I just didn't expect Athrun to be just that kind of guy. Yeah, so before I end off this video, I also have one more information tidbit that I just found a couple days ago too, and it might come off as interesting to a lot of people, but I don't know if this is confirmed or not. So while researching the last few Iceberg tiers of this video, right, just to get the footage and the pictures and all that, I came across these Japanese wiki pages and discussion boards. So a lot of people, both the Japanese fan base and American fan base, right, there's some people that don't like Shinn and Kira, and so they tend to say things like, oh yeah, Kira should have died, Shinn should have died, and so on and so on. And so this wiki pages, right, they claim that, to quote, in a special edition, the scene where Kira and Shinn meet at the war memorial is a modification of the last scene of the final episode. The idea was that Shinn is finally defeated by either Kira or Athrun, and a few years later, on a day the war ends, which is the day of Shinn's death, Lacus and his friends, Shinn's friends or Kira's friends, go to the Zaft military cemetery to visit his grave. Okay, so I have to kind of interject my own opinions on this matter, and I have to say that I don't think Fukuda or Murasawa had any intentions to kill Shinn, let alone anybody in the main cast. I mean, if you guys remember, right, Fukuda did claim once in an interview that in an alternate ending of Seed, Kira was supposed to die, but that never really happened. Remember, Mu died, he came back. Andrew Wallfield, the plot hole, he came back. No one in Seed, as long as you're in the main cast, no one really dies. So I don't really think Fukuda really had any intentions to kill off Shinn or Kira, let alone for that matter. And even in rough translation of interviews, even Murasawa called both Shinn and Kira cute. So I think that she has a lot of love for her characters, and I don't think she'll just kill off her characters just like that if, she calls them cute and stuff in interviews. I could tell that, from the interviews and stuff, she had a lot of passion for her characters that she created, even though they might not have been everybody's favorite. But what do you guys think? Personally, I think that this original idea is kind of fake. It's not really proven at all. It's most likely one of those fake rumors out there. But guess that's it for today, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed it. And until next time, everyone.